Welcome everyone to my channel, and welcome back. If you've been here before, welcome to my channel. This is your first time here. Now, this video is books that I want to read in 2025. There's a list. I got them here. These are the books I really want to read this year. I hope I get to, but if not, I'm gonna be a little sad, but it'll be okay. It's not like I'm going to unhaul any of these if I don't get to them. It's not like 25 and 2025 because I'm not doing that. And it's not like I got to read it or I'll have to unhaul it type of thing. It's I'll get to it when I get to it, but I'm hoping I draw these sometime this year. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one that okay. So the first one I want to do is a little controversy on my part, but you gotta understand it. That's all there is to it. Okay, so it's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and yes, I did pull this from my March TBR, but I put it back. Why? Because Assassin's Apprentice is something I struggled to read the first time I read it around, and it took me a good couple of weeks to read it, and the time that I drew it, I already had 4 books. Yeah, I already had 4 books. Okay, so with already 4 books drawn, I was like, there ain't no way I'm gonna be able to get through this, and I want to read it. I don't want to audible it. So I was like, I'm going to put this back and I'm going to hopefully draw it sometime this year. So I'm hoping, not for my March TBR, but maybe for April, May, June TBR, something like out there. And like one of the first ones I pull, like it's my second book I pull. So that way I'm like, yes, I can read this. Yay. I know I'm going to get through it. Because it is... where's the ending? It is 435 pages, but it was hard for me to read, and I don't know if it's gonna be hard for me to read a second time around. So I want to make sure I have enough time to be able to read it and enjoy it, and not have to scramble and go, oh my god, you know. So that's one of them. The next one is I want to get into the Age of by the Pantheon series by James Lovegrove. This is the Age of Ra. I would like to get into it. I should read you the back of these so you know a little bit about them. So if you want to go ahead and pick them up before I get to them, you can. So Assassin's Apprentice is young Fitz is the bastard son of the noble Prince Chivalry, raised in the shadow of the royal court by his father's gruff stableman. He's treated as an outcast by all the royalty except the devious King Shrewd, who has him secretly tutored in the arts of the assassin, for in Fitz's blood runs the magic skill, and the darker knowledge of a child raised with the stable hounds and rejected by his family. As barbarous raiders ravage the coast, Fitz is growing to manhood. Soon he will face his first dangerous, soul-shattering mission, and though some regard him as a threat to the throne, he may just be the key to the survival of the kingdom. So there's that. It's part of the first one in the First Seer trilogy, and the second book in the Realm of the Elderlings. So the Age of Ra is the first. I don't know actually if it's the first book in the Pantheon series, but I think it is the first one because I don't see it here. It's also by Lovegrove, and it doesn't have nothing on that, but this is slightly different, okay, than a lot of stuff. It's got like a modern twist with gods. So the Age of Ra. The ancient Egyptian gods had defeated all the other pantheons and claimed dominion over the earth, dividing it into warring factions. Lieutenant David Westwinter, a British soldier, stumbles into free Egypt, the only place to have remained independent of the gods' influence. There, he encounters the followers of a humanist leader known as the Lightbringer, who's vowed to rid mankind of the shackles of divine oppression. As the world heads towards an apocalyptic Apocalyptic battle. There is far more to this freedom fighter than it seems. So, I can't wait to I can read that. Jacob by Jacqueline Frank of the first one of the Nightwalker series. For 700 years, he has resisted temptation. Since time began, there have been Nightwalkers, the races of the night who live in the shadows of the moonlight. Love with humans is absolutely forbidden, and one man makes certain upholds this ancient law, Jacob, the Enforcer. For 700 years, he has resisted temptation, but not tonight. Jacob knows the excuses his people give when the madness overtakes him and they fall prey to their lust for humans. He's heard every one, and still brought the trespassers to justice, immune to forbidden desires, uncontrollable hungers, or the curse of the moon. His control is total until the moment he sees Isabella on a shadowy New York City street. Saving her life wasn't in his plans, nor were the overwhelming feelings she aroused in him. The moment he holds her in his arms and feels the soft explosion of her body against his, everything changes. Their attraction is undeniable, volatile, and completely against the law. Suddenly, everything Jacob has ever believed is inflamed by the heat of desire. Bring on the night. So, this isn't the first one in the series that I read, but I did read them all. Oh, hey, look, a freaking let me just put that bookmark up there because that's just doesn't belong in here. I didn't even know what was in here. Anyways, I would love to read this sometime this year. The Gunslinger. The Dark Towers 1. This was revised and expanded on. Whatever. So, I want to read this because Black House has a connection to the Gunslingers, and I want to get into it to see that connection. I want to. That's the reason why I want to read it. So, in the first book of this brilliant series, now expanded and revised by the author, Stephen King introduces readers to one of the most enigmatic heroes, Roland of Gilead. I think he is actually mentioned, the last Gunslinger, in Black House. He is a haunting figure, a loner on a spellbinding journey into good and evil. In his desolate world, which frighteningly mirrors our own, Roland pursues the man in black, encounters an alluring woman named Alice, and begins a friendship with a boy from New York called Jake. Both crippling, realistic, and eerily dreamlike, the Gunslinger leaves readers eagerly awaiting the next chapter. The Dark Tower. Set in a world of extraordinary services, filled with stunning visual imagery and unforgettable characters, the Dark Tower series is unlike anything you've ever read. Here is Stephen King's most visionary piece of storytelling, a magical mix of fantasy and horror that may well be his crowning achievement. So, I am excited to be able to read this. I want to read it. So it's one of my one of the books I want to read this year. Another book I want to read this year is I want to get back into more Sherlock Holmes. I want to read the next couple of Sherlock Holmes series, such as The Son of Four, which is the next book in the series, which is Holmes and Watson hunt down a stolen treasure upon the insistence of one Mary Morstan. An investigation that throws a trio into a vortex involving secret pacts and mysterious messages. So I want to get into it. I've actually never read The Son of Four, and I am deeply interested to see where it goes. So there is that. We'll do those last. Solo Leveling 1. I've read the manhwa. Okay. I'm watching the anime. Okay. I want to read the actual web novel it was based off from. Okay. So this is Solo Leveling by Chugong. The weakest hunter of all mankind, E-rank hunter Jin Woo-sung has no money, no talent, and no prospects to speak of, and apparently no luck either. When he enters a hidden double dungeon on one fateful day, he's abandoned by his party and left to die at the hands of some of the most horrific monsters he's ever encountered. But just before the last fatal blow, ding! Congratulations on becoming a player. I want to actually read to see what was not put in the manhwa and what was not put in the anime. The Bone Witch, which is part of the Bone Witch series, I think it is. This is number 1. By Ren Hubeko. Let me be clear, I never intended to raise my brother from his grave. Okay. The beast's rage, it punctured the air with its spite, but the girl was fiercer. So, T or Taya? I think it's Taya. I'm gonna go with Taya or Tia. Her name can't be T. I've just been thinking about drinking tea, and I don't even like drinking tea. Tia is different from the other witches in her family. Her gift for necromancy makes her a bone witch, who are feared and orchestrated in the kingdom. But theirs is a powerful elemental magic that can reach beyond the boundaries of the living and of the human. Great power comes at a great price, forcing Tia to leave her homeland to train under the guidance of an older, wiser bone witch. There, Tia puts all her energy into becoming an Asha, learning to control her elemental magic in those beasts who will submit by no other force. And Tia must be strong, stronger than she ever believes possible, because war is brewing in the 8 kingdoms. War that will threaten the sovereignty of her homeland and threaten the very survival of those she loves. Lyrical and action-packed, the story of a new fantasy series by acclaimed author Rin Peko will leave you breathless. I want to read. I want to get into it. I want to read it. I do. So I'm hoping I get it. Okay. That time I got reincarnated slime. And I want to read it. I'm hoping. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Okay. So, I loved reading That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime 1. There was so much that was not put into the anime that was just... I loved it. So, this one, I can't wait to see more. So, has a super slime met his match? Rimmer's new life is going pretty well, all things considered. With a diverse population of hobgoblins, dwarves, and direwolves, his little village in the forest of Jura is developing into a respectable, can't speak, peaceful settlement until a team of ogres attacks. Not only that, but a horde of orcs has been terrorizing the local races, and if they aren't stopped, Rimmeru's home could be next. The cushiony chief himself is no slouch, of course, but he'll need more than reincarnation bonuses to deal with this. Dun dun dun. Okay, I gotta move this stuff in the way. Not even done yet, okay? Not done yet. So I want to read that one for 2025. We're saving the best ones for last, okay? The ones are super, super, super duper want to read. Super duper. Besides Assassin's Apprentice. I'm going to start with that one. Okay. Abigail Owens is the games we've got to play. She'll fight for her life with the god of death. Anything else with the god of death, okay? I have an attachment to that. So, I have never been favored by the gods. Far from it, thanks to Zeus. Living as a cursed office clerk for the Order of Thieves, I just keep my head down and hope the capricious beings who rule from Olympus won't notice me. Not an easy feat, given San Francisco is Zeus's patron city, but I make do. I survive until the night I tangle with a different god, the worst god, Hades. For the first time ever, the ruthless, merciless king of the underworld has entered the crucible. The deadly contest the gods hold to determine a new ruler to sit on the throne of Olympus, but instead of fighting their own battles, the gods name mortals to complete in their stead. So why in the underworld did Hades choose me, a sarcastic nobody with a curse on her shoulders, as his champion? And why does my heart trip every time he says I'm his? I don't know if I'm a pawn, bait, or something else entirely to his dangerously tempting god. How can I, when he has more secrets than the stars in the sky? Because Hades is playing by his own rules, and death will win at any cost. Any more? No. So, I watched YouTube shorts with Elizabeth Wheatley, and she mentioned this, and it sounded interesting, and I do love the gorgeousness of it. It is a very gorgeous book, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a gorgeous read. Because by the sounds of it, it sounds really interesting, and I'm just like so into the gods of death. Okay. I want to get into this. I know it's going to be a long journey. going to be a long journey, but I want to get to Robin Jordan's Eye of the World for the Wheel of Time series. Okay? So, the first book in the best-selling Wheel of Time phenomenon that inspired the streaming series. And this is one of the high fantasies that if you want to get into fantasy is something you should read. Well, if you want to read fantasy. It's one of the fantasy things you should read because it's a high fantasy book and you want to read it. And this is a floppy one, but it's a floppy bitch. See? Floppy. Okay, so when she arrives in a small village in the Two Rivers, Moraine discovers 3 young men, each of whom might be the long-awaited and revealed chosen one, the Dragon Reborn. But she is not the only stranger new to the village, nor the only one searching. In a race against time and the agents of the shadow, she must guide her charges through lands of myth and legend, towards allies both new and old, and into the footsteps of prophecy. The Wheel of Time turns, and epic adventure begins. And I want to get into it! I've heard a lot of stuff about them, like book 1 through 4 is the best, 5 through 10 is a slog, and then then the rest is pretty good. I want to find that out for myself. I want to read it and see it. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm hoping to do. Eventually. One day. So, there's that. The Shadow of Kyoshi by FCE. I want to continue the Avatar Chronicles. Okay. Flustered by more than 24 men, Moke turned calmer. Well, girl, what is it you want besides checking in on Yelders? I want y'all to surrender your weapons, vacate the premises, march yourselves to a magistrate's courthouse for judgment. The nearest one is 7 blocks from here. Several of the hatchet men burst into laughing. The corner of Moke's mouth turned upward. Here she might be the Avatar, but she was vastly numbered and trapped in the enclosed space. We refuse, he said with an exaggerated roll of his head. All right then, in that case, I only have one question. Yoshi cast her gaze around the room. Are you sure this is all of you? The triad members glanced at each other. Moke's face swelled with rage, reddening like a berry in the sun. It wasn't insolence so much as pragmatism. Her instinct for tidiness and efficiency rising to the surface. If not, I'm going to tell everyone to rise. Yoshi said, I don't want to have to go back and check each floor. Tear her apart, Moke screamed. The hatchet men charged from all directions. Yoshi drew one of her fans. 2 would have been a bit much. That sounds so nice. Okay, here's this. Kyoshi's place as the true Avatar has finally been cemented, but at a heavy cost. With her mentors gone, Kyoshi struggles to keep the peace in a world full of corruption and violence. But while her reputation grows, a mysterious threat emerges from the spirit world. Kyoshi travels take her to the Fire Nation, where she reunites with Rangi and becomes the Fire Lord's guest of honor for an important cultural holiday. But underneath the celebration lies a dangerous game of court politics. And when the palace itself is attacked, she, Rangi, and their allies must deliver justice before the Fire Nation is consumed by strife. That sounds so freaking awesome, and I cannot wait. But this must be Rangi in the background. But I'm excited. I can't wait. I want to read. I can't wait. Okay, there we go. There's that. At the beginning after the end. Why is there the sticker on here? I should take this sticker off. Go. Yeah? Okay, there we go. What I really wish is that the web novel was being printed instead of the manhwa, because I really would like to get my hands on that. I think that would be better. I have read some of the web novel on Tapas, and I have read a lot of the manhwa on Tapas. But I got my own copy right here and I want to read it. So cool looking. I mean, like, look how gorgeous these pages are. And it's all full color, which makes it a little more expensive than most. But still. It is like pretty cool. Okay. So experience the hit fantasy comic finally in print. I want the manhwa. I want the web novel in print. Why can't you give me that? King Gray is a remarkable ruler with a prosperous king reign, and yet opulence and success cannot bury emptiness and solitude. His time as king, however, comes to an abrupt end, and he reincarnates as Arthur Lewin, a baby born in a world of magic and monsters. Equipped with memories of his previous life and the desire to protect the newfound warmth surrounding him, Art begins his journey of becoming a strong warrior once again. Sword training, mana core formation, magic studies, Art does it all in order to be as powerful as can be. It will be enough to repel the dangerous forces that threaten his second chance at life. Dun, dun, dun. I love this. This is like the best cover ever. Even if that one is not in the actual manhwa yet, like that's not in the manhwa yet. Still, look at him. Look at Arthur when he's like a child. Like, rule the roost. Because he was a king, you know? So, I want to dig into this. I want to dig into it much more than what I have. And I really wish the web novel was being printed so I could buy that. Okay. The last two, I really want to read. So there's 14 books I really want to read in 2025. But if I don't get to them, I don't get to them. I'm not going to be that upset about it. But you might see them again next year. Until I get them read. I want to dive into Case Closed, or Meitante Konen by Gosho Aoyama. Okay? So, I want to. And I'm going to ignore the fact that they do not name these characters the correct names that they're supposed to be, okay? I'm just not, okay? The American version of their names sucks. And I know they're Japanese versions, and I stick with them for everything. Okay? Ghastly beheadings, bloody murders, and cold-hearted child abduction. Precocious high school student, Shinichi Kudo, uses his keen powers of observation and astute intuition to solve mysteries that have left law enforcement officials baffled. Hot on the trail of a suspect, Shinichi is accosted from behind and fed a strange chemical which physically transforms him into a grade schooler, taking on the pseudonym of Conan Edogawa. He attempts to track down the people who did this to him, but until he finds a cure for his bizarre condition, Shinichi continues to help the police solve their toughest cases. Can you crack the case before Conan does? Viz continues to publish their English names for Shinichi, Ran, Kogoro, Eri, and Sonoko. But they've ditched the rest of them to be the original names, which is irritating. Alright. So, the one I'm really most anticipating and wanting to read in the new year, which is 2025, is the second book in Heavenly's official edition by Mo Jiang-Hong-Zhu. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. But if not, oh well. The touch of a hand, a roll of the dice. Shilian has confirmed that the bewitching youth, Sun Long, is actually a Wachung, one of the four calamities and a supreme ghost despised by all heavenly officials. Still, he has trouble matching the terror of his companion's reputation with the charming, clever, and protective young man he's come to know. When a distressed single leads Shilian into Ghost City, a bustling metropolis containing all the horrors and delights of the dead, he sees Wachung in his element and his true form for the first time. But despite their chemistry and care for one another, there are missions to fulfill and secrets to uncover, and Shilian's centuries of troubled history are never far behind. I want to read. Okay. Look how gorgeous this cover is, too. Like, I want to read. Okay. So, I'm going to show you all the books in a stack. In a stack. Hold on. Let me get this stack going. There we go. In a stack. In a stack. I can't even get it all in the camera. Here we go. These are all the books I want to read in 2025. If I don't get to them, I don't get to them. They'll disappear next year on my list of things I want to read in 2025. So if you think I deserve a like, comment, or even a lovely subscription, drop it down below. I will see you next illusion.